It's Fill Your Plate Now, where every bite brings you closer to the farm gate and further from what's unhealthy. Now here's your hosts, Julie and Tammy, helping you live well by filling your plate well.
Welcome to another episode of Fill Your Plate Now. And today we have a very special guest, someone that Julie and I both have known for some time.
Yes.
And really admire her leadership and everything she has done, her volunteerism, her patriotism. I mean, she is an amazing person, and I know you're going to think so too. Our guest today is Sine Kerr. She is currently the State Executive Director of USDA Farm Service Agency here in Phoenix, and she was appointed by the Trump administration to serve in May of 2025, so it's a relatively new appointee. Prior to her appointment, though, she served in the Arizona State Senate representing Legislative District 25. She was chairwoman of Natural Resources, Energy, and Water Committee from 2019 to 2025. And during her last term, she was selected by her caucus members to serve as the majority whip. During her time in the Senate, she championed many bills related to water, animal production, property rights, and environmental to keep farming and ranching viable in Arizona. Prior to that, in 1980, Senator State Executive Director Kerr and her husband started a dairy farm and row crop operation that their son later joined. After 43 years in the dairy business, they sold their dairy herd and now operate a cow-calf operation, selling beef directly to the public. The Kerr family grows alfalfa, silage corn, Bermuda oats, rye, and sorghum. And then previously, during the time when she was dairying, she also held a number of volunteer offices, serving as the Cattlemen's Beef Promotion and Research Board, serving on that board, the Maricopa County Farm Bureau, as Women's Leadership Chair, the Arizona Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Chair, a former member of the Buckeye Chamber of Commerce, and served on the Maricopa County Air Quality Hearing Board, and chair of the Healthy Arizona Initiative Food and Agricultural Policy Advisor Committee. In other words, she's always giving back. And I had to read all that because I would never remember it. But she was born in Fort Benning, Georgia, and her father was stationed. He was in the Army. He was stationed there. And when he retired, her family moved here to Buckeye. Actually, my husband's father was in the Army. And he was in Fort Benning, Georgia also.
Oh, how fun.
Must be a big Army
It is.
headquarters there, yes. And anyway, she credits her love of agriculture from living in Buckeye. And we are just so excited to have her here with us today. And welcome to Fill Your Plate Now.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited anytime I have the chance to talk about agriculture and how amazing it is in Arizona. That's always a real blessing. So.
We think so too. We really do. And we have all kinds of questions for you
Good,
as well.
good.
So, going back to your military background, we'll start from the beginning and work our way through. Living, I'm sure, on military posts or nearby the Army posts, quite a difference to go from military life and to Buckeye.
Yes, so I was just a pretty young girl at the time. I was only 3.
Oh, okay.
I actually do have some memories, though.
Oh.
And my folks, my parents talked a lot about it. Those were really special times. My dad happened to retire in 1964, could choose anywhere to relocate the family, and he chose Buckeye. And I'm so grateful. We had some family there. And you're right, that's where I learned to love agriculture.
Oh, that's amazing. I wondered how you ended up in Buckeye. You had family that lived there.
Yes, an aunt and uncle, yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So, Sina, just for some fun insights, I call Tammy the nutrition ninja, and the production team here at Star Worldwide Network dubbed me the Farmin' Darlin'. So the Farmin' Darlin's going to ask you the more specific farm question.
Sure.
Tell us about what a typical day was like on the farm, and then what's changed since then now that you're mostly forage crop, cow-calf. You do some direct sells. Talk about all that.
Yes, so typical day on the dairy was nothing went the way you planned. You had your chores set up and your to-do list going, but inevitably something would happen. And you learned to adapt, and you still got all the things done that you had planned. But then on top of that, you dealt with the things that didn't go as planned. And so you learn to be, really flexible and know that you just do your best and take care of the animals, equipment, your employees, and so that was always the cool thing, though, about having the dairy farm was, every day was different.
Yeah. And I'm amazed, too, with everything that you've been able to do on a volunteer basis and still be part of the family-run farm. And we haven't noted that she has 12 grandbabies.
Yes.
I
So,
know.
put
That's
all that-
impressive in itself.
We love it. They're, we think they're so amazing. They are.
They are.
And they all live nearby, so that's part of it. They're right there, and we're so grateful that we get to see all of our family just very often and gatherings, impromptu all the time. I say our home is a revolving door, and we love that.
Oh, they're darling. I think I've met pretty much all of them, and they are so cute. I love them.
Thank you. We think so.
And it's funny, you transitioned, well, you were young, so you went from being in a military family to Buckeye, but then you went from the farming, and not that you left the farming side of things, but into politics. What first got you interested in politics?
Well, I have to credit United Dairymen, Arizona Farm Bureau, because when we got involved, there were many occasions where we needed to interact with our state delegation, our state members, elected representatives, and also in D.C., our congressional members. And it was on a particular trip, I was there with the Arizona Farm Bureau, I think one of the first times I met our congressional delegation. And some, really caught on to our issues, the policy we were bringing before them, and some didn't. Mm-hmm. And I began thinking, we need producers, we need farmers and ranchers, people, on the ground, production Aggies, on the other side of that desk, making those decisions, and how important it was. And I wasn't thinking of it in context of myself running. I was thinking maybe my son, maybe one of my daughters, maybe Bill would end up doing something like that. So it truly wasn't really on my radar at all. But then as those experiences happened, as I became more involved in other leadership programs, Project Central, the Center for Arizona Leadership, doing, the Women's Leadership Boot Camp with Arizona Farm Bureau at the American Farm Bureau level, and those things that just layer by layer, little by little, started preparing me and helping me to think that, if an opportunity arose, maybe I would consider doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tammy did a great job of listing out so many of the ag organizations that you have been involved with, and you're still a member of the Arizona Farm Bureau. Yes. Mm-hmm. And one thing I always will take note of is when you were first elected as the chair for the State Women's Leadership Committee, and Peggy Jo, remember Peggy Jo Goodfellow,
absolutely.
And myself met with you. And one thing that I was struck with is that she absolutely knew what you wanted to be your priorities for the Women's Leadership Committee during your time as the chair. And I love that about you. How have these ag organizations influenced your views and your perspective, and how you've taken on these challenges, especially as senator here for the state legislature?
Yes, so it helped me, I would say, get out of my box.
Okay.
And it really expanded my knowledge as I developed relationships with farmers and ranchers from across the state. And it helped me realize, how diverse we are in what we produce, how we produce it. The different geographical areas of our state have different needs. So it really expanded my knowledge base on that, and it helped me realize, the things that happen on our dairy, in our farm every day, it could be totally different not too far down the road. And so that was really helpful in helping me understand that, yes, we might have some needs here, but another producer has other needs, and and so on, throughout the state. So that was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've had so many successes when you were in the Senate, and we're going to be moving on to the next area in a minute. But, how did you look at agriculture and politics intersecting to achieve some of the things you have? I mean, what worked?
Well, going back to the experiences I had, visiting with our state members and then our congressional members, and realizing those relationships that we build with our elected members is so crucial. And we talked about it a lot, but to see it in action, and that's what I loved about that type of leadership exposure and mentoring and training, was it came to life. And I began to see that that's the critical point, is having those relationships. That's how we had members on our farm. We started inviting them, they started coming, and then they could really see and understand on a different level that our needs, were, this or that, and they then, had their experience and having been on the farm and really seeing and knowing that this policy would really be a great thing, or this policy might really hurt our farmers.
Yeah, so many people have never been on a farm.
Exactly.
That tactile experience, you can't replace it.
Yes.
I'm going to tell a story on you, and I know I have permission to say it because it was one of your answers when I did the conversation article as you were leaving the Senate, so to speak, which is just recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
January.
One of the things that struck me about your response is that politics can be intense, and it can get kind of contentious, obviously. And I remember you saying that sometimes you, on a break, would just step outside, call Bill,
Yes.
your husband, and say, Bill, just talk to me. I just need you to talk to me right now. What were some of your projects that you were most passionate about when you were senator for the state legislature?
I would say anything that affected our farmers and ranchers, and typically it was water. We talk about whiskeys for drinking and waters for fighting, and boy, we could sure duke it out. And so those were very intense conversations, negotiations. Anytime you put a water bill out there, and it should have the input, the feedback from everyone. And so we sure got it, but we had a lot of successes in getting good water legislation through. And so that was a huge priority for me. Anything that would protect our property rights, being able to continue with our animal production, and our natural resources. I was very passionate about our forests, our energy production, all those things, because it's out in our rural areas where our primary industries happen. And nothing else happens unless you have those viable primary industries. And so that's what was really my focus, my passion, and what I fought so hard for.
And we could absolutely tell. It was inspiring to have you in the Senate and to just watch that
Thank
progress.
you. Thank you.
And then congratulations, too, on recently being appointed to your position now as the state executive director of the Farm Service Agency. I was reading a little bit about this, and, I am embarrassed to say I did not know a lot about that position. But it does a lot. I mean, and it helps a lot of people. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you do in that position and what the whole agency does.
Sure, absolutely. So it's, an amazing honor. It's a political appointment, and so, it's a presidential appointment. I answer to the president, vice president, his secretary, Brooke Rollins. And so what an incredible honor it is to get to be the one here in Arizona that helps implement their vision, their passion, what they want to see done for our farmers and ranchers, not only in Arizona, but across the country. And so I'm just incredibly blessed to get to amplify, their goals and their platform, and it's just great. And it's all about making sure that the needs of our farmers and ranchers are met, and that our farmers and ranchers' priorities are top of mind. And so I'm so grateful that that's what I get to do. Anytime I get to advocate for our farmers and ranchers and our ag partners, there's no better job. It's just really wonderful. And so Farm Service Agency, our role is, we provide disaster relief and loans in times of need, great need. So it's really awesome that we get to be there when our farmers and ranchers are hurting the most, and they need a safety net. We have a variety of different programs that we offer, and I'm just learning them all too, Tammy. There's a lot more there than I even imagined, and so I'm still learning a lot, and I will be for a while. But I love that, and it's amazing getting to be, in this position and being there, when our farmers and ranchers need us most.
Well, you are a perfect person for the job, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Before we went on air, you said that every day is different, and you make that statement or that point even in agriculture as well. So, this is a perfect fit for you, because every day is different, and you have to be ready to pivot when you have to pivot to the things you have to pivot to. But what are some of your goals now as the new director in the USDA for Farm Service Agency?
Yeah, so the Farm Service Agency is the only federal agency that has county employees also. And so we have 8 offices around the state, strategically placed, amazing staff there. And so I want to make sure that, they're the front facing, we say, they're the ones that greet those farmers and ranchers when they come in and they want to apply for a program or find out about it. Some assistance that might be available to them. And so they're incredible. I want to make sure that they have all the tools they need. That customer service is number one, and making sure that we are able to meet the needs, answer those questions, get the farmers and ranchers signed up. Also, making sure that we have the staff that will take care of, making sure that they're efficient in putting out, in implementing the programs, or I want to say, making sure that they know about the programs that are out there, getting that information out, and also, making sure that we do the best job we can with the taxpayer dollars, that we are accountable, and that we're doing a great job getting those out to the people that need it.
So efficiency, communication, so that the farmers know the programs, and then just making sure that you move forward and process it. And sometimes paper pushing can always be a challenge, but knowing that you yourself are a farmer, you come at it from the perspective of boots on the ground, that in itself is going to be a benefit to the agency.
Well, thank you. I absolutely love. I've been able to get out to 4 of our county offices so far, and like you mentioned, Tammy, I started on May 5th, and I think, I just completed 2 months. And so I'm really anxious to get out to see everyone. And what I love is always meeting with the producers, and like I said earlier, learning the differences and the different needs, the different challenges, the different successes in the different all the areas of our state, because that's what makes us so unique. And I think it was Dr. Burgess who coined us as the nutrition state, because Arizona we can produce just about anything, and we do. We produce so many different products, and we do it so well.
Yeah, being around dairy, I know a little bit about dairy, but Julie has really educated me on all the other aspects of farming across the state that I really was unaware of. I mean, there's so much, and your job sounds like it's a really big job with a lot going
Yeah.
on. Any areas of that job that you're finding are challenges or unexpected challenges and opportunities?
Well, I kind of joke that the alphabet, because everything's an acronym. And so I'm having to learn, what they mean. And I have a little handbook that I have open most days on my desk so I can translate different emails. And
Yeah.
when, I'm on different meetings and speaking with people, I'll say, I'm not sure what that means, but I look down and find out what that is. So, no, but I say that jokingly, but that is, it's a whole new language to learn, really.
Oh, yeah.
And catching on. I still get some of them mixed up, and I'm sure that I will.
We'll give you
but,
grace. Again, it's only 2 months.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. So, it's the staff has really made it easy, I want to say, for me. They're so informed, they're so capable, they answer all my questions. And so it alleviated a lot of the anxiety I had going into it, because it was like, okay, I'm not altogether sure, everything that the agency does. And so they're there just about every day. I'm asking someone to come in and explain a different part of the process, or what we do or how we do it, and they're amazing. So they really have made it easy for me.
So Tammy just asked you about the challenges. I'm going to ask you about what you feel is rewarding. I get the sense, even as we walked up to the studio just to do this episode, I got the vibe that you really are enjoying it. So what's the most rewarding aspect of your new position 2 months in?
Yeah, so, like I mentioned earlier, getting the incredible privilege of getting to, represent the administration and the secretary here. It's pressure, but what I learned in the Senate was that pressure is a great privilege, and I'm really embracing that, and really am so grateful for that opportunity, and to be able to, support, again, their vision and to implement that here in our state. But nothing really is more satisfying to me than just getting to sit across the table and talk to our farmers and our ranchers.
Oh.
And a lot of it is about their challenges and their needs. And I love that, because I love that we can find a solution, that if it's not something, if it's a program, that maybe FSA may not have, but maybe NRCS does, Natural
Sure.
Resource Conservation Service, or maybe rural development has something. And so anyway, I just love getting to meet more of our farmers and ranchers, and really dialing in on the uniqueness of the areas that they are, producing our food and fiber.
I'm going to steal that line, I think. Pressure is a privilege. And
Yeah,
we
I
don't
like that.
see it with that perspective all the time, but it truly is. And in any of our positions, we have those moments of pressure, but pressure is a privilege, because it makes the bar, we raise the bar on ourselves, and we try to do a better job.
Yes.
And it allows for growth, I think, too. I think that's
Yeah.
a really, really good point. Julie and I really talk almost every episode about the importance of agriculture. And we try to go farm to table. Sometimes we're talking about nutrition. Sometimes we're talking about what is grown in Arizona and other areas, and how important that is, and how all of it's important to the economy, and supplies jobs, but also keeps our food costs down.
Yes.
With the listeners we have online right now, what would you like to tell them about agriculture in general?
Well, I think because we have such an abundance, we go to our grocery stores, and the shelves are always full. And we have an amazing selection that I think we can forget. You know what? Our farmers and our ranchers, they sustain our life. We have to eat, and eat well, and for good health. And so, think about what we do. include us because, we've been farming for 45 years now, just Bill and I, but his family for over, I think, about 97 years, almost 100 years they've been in production agriculture. And so, and many of our farmers and ranchers have been doing a lot longer than that. But and keeping our farmers and ranchers in business is not just food security for Arizona, but for the nation and in a lot of circumstances, the world as well, because I know United Dairymen, we ship product all over the world, and I know, we have other producers that are shipping their products too, and that's so important. And that, our food we produce with such care and integrity. And that's important to us. The vast majority, I haven't heard the latest statistic, but it used to be, like more than 95% of our farmers and ranchers, we're small family farms. And so, that food is produced with a lot of care and integrity, and it's not just a job at all. It's our way of life. It's who we are, and I see that so much, even greater now. We sold our dairy herd in November of 2023, and so it was like losing family, and really difficult. Grateful we're still able to be in crop production and growing all the forage crops out in the Buckeye area, and but it's just who we are, and so deeply ingrained. And we see our grandkids now are working the farm with Bill. All summer he's had quite a few of the grandkids, and then he's really teaching them and training them, and they're so proud. They asked one day, they call me Lala. Lala, are we farmers now? And I said, you absolutely are. When Papa's got you out there and you're pulling more than your weight, you guys are farmers. So our fifth generation, we just love it.
And that's great. And I love the caring.
Yeah.
That's
my summation then from that is that the food supply chain does not start at the grocery store or even the farmer's market. It starts out in the field with Bill and Sine and those 12 grandbabies that are helping. You guys also have a direct market, and that goes through, or does it end after kind of the sweet corn season here in the valley? Or are you guys still doing the weekend
Right.
farmers market?
Yes, we do that. We have our little farm stand, and that started 1 year, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And so Bill was growing corn, silage corn, but kind of in the middle, he had a bunch of sweet corn growing. And so we had such an abundance. We said, hey, why don't we have a little corn stand? And we'll have the grandkids helping. We'll call it the grandkids farm stand, and we'll put that money away for their future education needs. And so that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, this year was the first time that really Bill and I didn't have to do a whole lot.
Wow.
Those kids just knew Bill brought in the produce, and the kids knew exactly what to do. They set it all up. They're there bright and early, 5 a.m. on Saturday mornings, from Memorial Day weekend to the weekend before 4th of July. And so they're there, they're helping, they're setting up, they're just absolutely doing all parts of that. So we love that. That just is a short growing season here in Arizona. And then, but year round, we direct sell our beef.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Yes, so that goes on year round.
I love that, especially, it's proof of the pudding that most families involve the entire family and generationally. So it's cool.
Yes.
So
I just wanted to add real quick, we have T-shirts that say that we all wear. We got new ones this year, but last year's T-shirts on the back said, farming takes a family.
Oh,
and it
that's
really
nice.
does.
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you have a website then, or if
yeah.
someone wanted to come out and during the time when you have the farm stand, or find out more about your beef?
Yes. So Kerr Family Farms, plural, AZ, at gmail.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
And I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
And I
Off
think-
the top of my head, it's not too reliable sometimes.
And I think you guys are on Facebook as well.
We are on Instagram.
Or is it Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. I could see that, especially if the grandkids are now running this.
Yes. Yes. So cute.
So I'm going to flip back to a political question for anybody that's listening that has that aspiration, especially, when we think about the kind of how you move forward in this, maybe not intending to get into politics, but ended up in politics there for a moment in time. How would you counsel others that are thinking about dipping their toe into politics? Maybe they want to run for the state legislature, or they want to start on the local level, maybe being on a city council or something.
Sure. So, I always say, interact with your elected officials at that local level, the county level, and the state level, even national level. And, develop those relationships, reach out. You can watch all the proceedings that happen at the legislature.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all live feed, and then later they're archived. And so, I started watching some and, just thought, wow, I think I could do that. And then, having those conversations with electeds, with past electeds as well, and former electeds, and find out the inner workings. The state capitol, it's the people's capital. Go there. You can show up at hearings, you can sit in the gallery, you can watch the proceedings, see if that's something that really ignites something in you. And it did for me. When I would sit there, be in the gallery, or I would attend a hearing, I thought, I really think this, I could do this, and I maybe I could contribute something. And then an opportunity came for me to, put my hat in the ring and to run for office. And actually, I was running for a seat in the House of Representatives when a vacancy happened in the Senate in my district. My senator resigned to run for Congress, and so then I was appointed. And I had no idea what the appointment process was. I really didn't even want to start in the Senate, but it was the ag community from around the state. They said, this rarely happens. You at least need to try, and it'd be a great experience if nothing else. And so I did. I went through the appointment process, and I was appointed. And
then
the
after
rest
that,
is history. Yes.
after that, you went through what, 2 elections then?
Then three.
3.
Three elections,
So
yes.
3 times you had to go through the whole election experience / process.
Yes.
But also to mention a lot of the leadership training programs like Phoenix Leadership, Tempe Leadership, and then obviously Arizona Center for Rural Leadership, which targets people that either live or work in the rural areas. Mm-hmm. There's always training on how,
Yes.
how to testify before a committee at the state legislature. So there's actually a lot of training experiences. And then I know Arizona Farm Bureau, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the dairy organizations do the same thing. Every other or on the off election year, like this year, normally in the fall, we'll ask American Farm Bureau Federation's legislative team to do a training on, if you run for office, this is what you need to do. Mm-hmm. So there's actually a lot of training opportunities too for people.
Which I did that. It was
you did that.
so helpful.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
wonderful.
For you had so much experience leading up to that. So I would always encourage people that do want to get into politics to get involved in leadership roles within your industry's organization. So you may not be in ag, but maybe, you're in the gas and oil industry. You probably should take on some leadership positions within those volunteer organizations within your particular industry. That's what makes the difference, so that you kind of go into it. I mean, even though I know you would probably say there's a lot of things about being the senator in our state legislature that were just like, wow, eye-opening. And some aspects of it you may never feel prepared for. But there was a lot of things that you did in your volunteer leadership that kind of set the stage for you to be willing to make those considerations.
And some other members noticed that. So I appreciate you bringing that up, because that had a lot to do with preparing me. We had in Project Central, we had mock hearings. So I understood the process. And so when I found myself within 2 weeks of being, even not even wanting to apply for the appointment, and then being on the Senate floor, it was just a matter of like 2 weeks. And then I jumped right in, and other members were saying, how did you know all of this, the procedures and different things? And so I gave a lot of credit to those leadership opportunities, those programs.
I love, too, how you, even when you thought about politics, you were hoping one of your 4 kids
Yes.
might. Well, and there's still that possibility.
There's still time for them.
I'm still hopeful.
Yes.
Yes.
You've got some really bright people in your family, the 3 girls and Wes. I mean, I'm just like, so I always so impressed with the Kerr gang. And so that moniker might be at the state legislature once again. You never know.
That would be awesome. And, one of the things that was really influential in me even deciding to do this was to show, what a regular person, and that's what I found, as I would meet our different elected members, we're all just regular people. And I came in, I mean, it's pretty vitriolic now, but when I first came in, it was that way as well. And I thought, no, I want to show that you can run a positive campaign. You don't have to tear others down. You can talk about what your platform is, what you will do, and give people a reason to vote for you. And so I always, every single campaign, sometimes it was hard. I wanted to, have something in my back pocket in case I had to pull it out. But I was just really felt committed and compelled to keep it very positive, and that you could, run on, a positive platform, and again, give people a reason to vote for you. And that, I have no special anything that, would make me, a politician or anything like. I'm just a regular person who just cares deeply, for my industry, for our state, for our people.
And Tammy and I feel too that, you soak a lot of what you do with a lot of grace, but you are firm in your convictions, and we need more politicians like that.
Yes, and it's obvious you show passion in everything you do, and that just shows right through, So we really love all that you have done. You've done such an amazing job. And if we were to leave our listeners with some thoughts on agriculture and their food supply, what would you tell them?
Again, I go back to, that everything we produce is produced with a lot of care, a lot of integrity, and a lot of that passion, because it's really tough, it's hard work, but we wouldn't do anything else, we wouldn't trade it for anything. And so just for people to know that, how much care goes into it, and how critical it is that we maintain a robust local supply of food, that we support our ag industry, and understand, that we do everything we can, keep our food production strong and viable here in our state. And again, keeping our farmers and ranchers in business, which is such a blessing I get to do in this position, is so important for all of us to make sure that Arizona has a great, abundant local food supply, and then what we supply to our nation and to the world around.
I do have to ask her one other question that has to do with something with cooking.
That's not on the list, Julie. No, just kidding.
So Lala,
Yes.
when all 12 kids come over, what do they hope that you're going to make for them? Or do you have them do the cooking?
Well, there's some that do like to get in the kitchen, and I have some great bakers already. Yeah, so they're really great about that. They love my spaghetti. And any type of Mexican food that I make. So, yeah, they're always wanting to know what I'm cooking. And, yeah.
I'm
So
sure
it's
that
fun.
brings them over as well.
Yes.
No, years ago we did a cookbook with all the dairy
Oh, fun.
families and amazing recipes. So
Yes.
they
We'll have
not
to get some.
only are farming and dairying, but they are putting it on the table too, which is so important for everyone's health. But this has
Yes.
been so nice today.
Yes.
Sina, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. We really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Hope
I
we can
love
have you
it.
back again sometime.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I think we're ready to wrap up one more episode of Fill Your Plate Now. Thank you.
Thank you.